The new year is here, and many of you probably have goals to eat better and get fitter, and I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to share with you the secret to making body composition changes with a 100% success rate. If you get this one thing correct, you cannot fail. The content of this video is purely informational in nature. It's not medical advice, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Okay, let's get into it. When it comes to making weight changes, energy balance is the most important factor. And energy balance is exactly how it sounds. It's the balance of energy in your body. When the amount of energy going in your body is equal to the amount of energy going out, you are said to be in energy balance and you will maintain your weight. When energy in is less than energy out, that's called negative energy balance and you will lose weight. When energy in is greater than energy out, positive energy balance, you will gain weight. The energy inside of the equation is how many calories you ingest and absorb with food throughout the day. The energy outside is the summation of the calories that your body uses. Your body requires a certain amount of energy in order to maintain energy balance and fuel your daily activity and certain biological processes throughout the day. This is known as your total daily energy expenditure. Your total daily energy expenditure is made up of 4 different things. The first being your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Your BMR is the amount of energy your body requires to perform life-sustaining functions while at rest. Basically, it's how much energy you require to lay in bed all day and not move. Your TDEE also factors in your exercise activity. How much energy does it cost for you to fuel your exercise? Next is your non-exercise activity. You may have heard this referred to as NEAT or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Included in this is all the activity that is not exercise. Walking to the car, doing the dishes, brushing your teeth, fidgeting at your desk. That's all movement that gets included into this equation. Lastly is the thermic effect of food. How much does it cost your body to digest, process, and absorb all the nutrients in your food? So if you add together your BMR, your exercise activity, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and the thermic effect of the food you eat, you get your total daily energy expenditure. This is how many calories your body requires in order to maintain the same weight while fueling all of your daily activities. There are 3 main ways for us to determine this value. The first, you live in a lab inside of a box called a metabolic ward, and a scientist can measure heat and gas exchange and then convert that into energy and tell you exactly how many calories you need for your total daily energy expenditure. This is by far the most accurate method, and not a single one of you will ever do it, because it's completely unfeasible. Okay, maybe one of you will find yourself in a clinical trial once where you have to live for a week in a metabolic ward, but other than that, most of you are not going to have this available for you. The second way is through equations. Long ago, there were scientists that developed some equations based on algorithms of the people they studied in order to determine your basal metabolic rate and your total daily energy expenditure. The one that I like most is called the Harris-Benedict equation. And the third way to determine your energy expenditure is through good old-fashioned trial and error. In my opinion, the best way to determine your TDEE is through a combination of using these equations and trial and error. You use a calorie calculator to determine an estimate for how many calories the algorithm thinks that your body requires, and then you validate that number with an experiment. For 2 weeks, you eat that amount of calories and you watch how your weight changes throughout. I could explain, but it's easier if I show you, so let's walk through the process with my personal stats. Step 1, you estimate your total daily energy expenditure using a calorie calculator. This one on screen now is my favorite one, and wow, would you look at that? It's from mealprepmanual.com. I'll link it down below in the description. So now we'll just run through with our stats. You can choose imperial or metric, sex, male, and if you're a hot girl watching this part, go ahead and close your eyes and just listen. For my height, I am 6 foot 3 inches tall, and I weigh 170 pounds. Next up, we'll put in our age, which is another tricky one for me because I'm 25, but I was born in 1993. I actually decided to turn off aging when I turned 25, so we might have to do a little bit of math on this one. We'll just call it that, and then move on to activity level. Now for activity level, there's a number of different choices for you to select, and this can be kind of hard because they're not objective in measure. You kind of just have to guess, and then that's what the trial and error portion of the experiment is for. I find that the majority of people overestimate their activity at this step, so if you have any questions, I would just err on the lower side. This step should also include your occupation if you work a physical job. So if you're a brick mason, or you're a roofer and you're carrying shingles up and down a ladder all day, or you're a concrete layer, then I would almost automatically choose the extra active lifestyle for you, even if you don't do any activity outside of that. 40 hours a week of putting in hard manual labor, that adds up. So choose the extra active lifestyle. For me, I'm going to choose very active lifestyle, hard exercise or sports 4 to 5 days a week. I play squash and cycle 3 to 4 times a week. I lift weights 3 times a week. And then what else do I do? I play frisbee golf 3 or 4 times a week, which is just walking, but that still counts. Next, you can select what you want to see based on your goals. If you just want to look at your BMR, you can click on Show Me Your BMR. Mine is estimated to be 1,753 calories per day. Weight maintenance would give you a value for your total daily energy expenditure. Mine has me estimated at 3,068 calories per day. If you have a goal of weight loss or weight gain, you can then select one of those options and it's going to prompt you and ask you how much you want to lose or gain per week. It's recommended to stick between 0.5 and 1% of your body weight and changes per week. Anything less than 0.5% is still fine and probably favorable for long-term success. The slower the better. But then you introduce some psychological barriers where if you're not seeing progress, it could cause some adherence problems in the future. I wouldn't recommend going above 1% of body weight lost or gained per week. Anything above that is going to be too steep. Compliance is imperative for this stuff, so your goals need to be feasible to adhere to, otherwise they're never going to achieve them. Losing more than 1% of your body weight per week is going to be too aggressive for most people, and it's also going to increase the chance that you put your weight back on after the diet is over. It's important to note that these are just estimates. If you are 1 or 2 standard deviations away from the mean individual they use to develop these equations, they're probably not going to be as accurate for you, and that's okay because that's what the experiment we're going to do is for. So once you figure out what your total daily energy expenditure is, step 2 is to perform the experiment. I would recommend a 14-day trial where you eat at this estimated total daily energy expenditure every day, and then you track your weight with it. On day 1, when you wake up, go to the bathroom, and then weigh yourself first thing. This is your starting weight. Track that in your phone, write it down, wherever you need to store it. For the next 14 days, your goal should be to live as completely normal as possible, doing all of your activities, everything the same, but eat at your total daily energy expenditure target every single day. If you want this to be as accurate as possible, you should weigh and measure all of your food and then track it in an app. Step 3 is to compare your starting and final weights. So after you ate at that calorie target for 14 days, on day 15, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you step on the scale, and you obtain your final weight. You should also obtain an average of your total caloric intake over those 14 days. Just add up all 14 days, divide by 14. So let's say on day 1, my starting weight was 170 pounds, and on day 15, my final weight was also 170 pounds, and my calorie target was 3,068 calories per day. I can then assume that my calorie target for my total daily energy expenditure at 3,068 calories a day was fairly accurate because I maintained the same weight throughout the experiment. I was in energy balance because the calories ingested was equal to the calories expended. Now for demonstration's sake, let's say on day 15 I step on the scale and it reads 172 pounds. I gained 2 pounds over the 14-day experiment. That means that I was in positive energy balance and my calorie target of 3,068 calories was too high because I gained weight. Now we can do a little math to determine how much extra I ate. 1 pound of body weight has roughly 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories times the 2 pounds that I gained equals 7,000 calories in excess. Divide that by 14 for how many days we did the experiment, and we find that I had an extra 500 calories per day. What I would do next is go back to my total daily energy expenditure target of 3,068 calories and subtract this 500 calorie excess to bring me to a new value of 2,568 calories. And then I would repeat this 14-day experiment again at that new level. The same logic is true for the inverse as well. If at the end of that 14-day experiment I had lost 2 pounds and I was 168 pounds, that means I was in a deficit of 500 calories each day over the course of that 14-day experiment. So adding 500 extra calories on per day would put my new TDEE at 3,568 calories, and then I would repeat the experiment from there. The math all stays the same, it's just in the opposite direction.
When you select weight loss or weight gain from the calculator on the website, it's doing the same basic arithmetic we did here and using 3,500 calories as an estimate for how much 1 pound of body weight is.
These equations aren't perfect, and they can't take into account all the nuances of the human bodies and the differences between individuals. For example, if you have a change in your hydration status between your starting weight and your final weight, that could easily throw off your values. The point of the experiment is not to obtain a perfect value for your maintenance calories. It's to get as close as possible to give you an educated baseline to start from and refer back to. So once you have your validated number, you can begin on the path towards your goals. The concept of energy balance at its core is very simple. It's just a math equation. But in practice, it becomes far more complex. Gaining or losing weight outside of liposuction, amputation, or adding an appendage is always going to be a function of energy balance. If you are gaining actual body tissue over a period of time, you can be assured that you are in positive energy balance, and the same is true for the opposite. For this to be false, it would break the laws of thermodynamics. Now, people will often say, but Josh, I've been eating in a calorie deficit and I'm not losing weight. If you are not losing weight, you are by definition not in a calorie deficit. The most likely culprit is that you are underestimating how much you're eating. The amount of people who underreport their intake is astonishing. You wouldn't believe how many people do it. Weighing and measuring everything you eat and then inputting that into a tracking app is the best way to solve this problem. It's also possible that whatever estimate you're using to determine your calorie target is off. It's wrong. For example, some people have hypothyroidism, which drops their basal metabolic rate. The equations can't account for this, but energy balance always does, which is why you might not be seeing a change on the scale. This is why that 14-day experimentation phase is critically important. It can help to solve for issues like this that you might not have known were there. One important thing that I want to note is that calories in versus calories out is not necessarily the same thing as energy balance. There are factors outside of your control that can play spoiler to your wish for a perfect calorie counting mechanism, but that doesn't mean that energy balance doesn't work. You'll often hear people say calories in versus calories out doesn't work because of X, Y, and Z. Some things that could cause you to incorrectly count calories: your nutritional labels are allowed to have a certain degree of error, you may not absorb 100% of the nutrients that you ingest, and some foods require more energy per calorie to absorb and process than others. Understanding the general concept of energy balance and experimenting with your measured intake will allow you to tweak the dials and find success even with calorie counting shortcomings. There is so much more nuance to this topic than just energy in versus energy out. Disturbing energy balance can lead to more changes in your body than just losing or gaining weight. Your hunger and satiety hormones are going to be impacted, which can have a huge effect on your intake and your desire to eat. It's something that needs to be accounted for in order to achieve success. As you lose weight, you'll experience a metabolic adaptation where your BMR will decrease in order to adjust for your new body weight. Your non-exercise activity levels will drop in order to try to conserve energy, and the amount of calories you require to lose weight will be lessened. Your energy needs are dynamic, they're not static, and that calorie target that you calculated earlier is ever changing, and in order to continue to see progress, you have to change with that. If you continue to eat at that calorie target that you landed upon, eventually you're going to plateau because you've developed a new baseline for your new weight and activity status. To keep losing or gaining the weight, you need to adjust your intake in order to match that new baseline. You can do this whenever you plateau or little by little throughout your dieting phase, whatever you feel more comfortable with. The makeup of your diet can also play a huge role for your outcomes. If you ate a 3,000 calorie diet of high protein whole foods versus a 3,000 calorie diet of cake and ice cream, your weight following the end of both diets might be the same, but your body composition and your hunger and satiety cues throughout would be vastly different. A diet that is rich in protein is going to be more likely to spare lean mass than a diet that is not, especially in the presence of a calorie deficit. No one diet is inherently superior for weight changes as long as calories are matched. That's a topic for another time though, we're already long enough into this. At the end of the day, energy balance is the key driver for making changes in body composition. Being able to tweak the dials to put you on the correct side of energy balance while maintaining good adherence and choosing the correct foods is the secret to long-term success, and that all starts with understanding the basic concept of energy balance. I'll be sure to link that calorie calculator in the description below. Hopefully all this information helps you meet your goals in the new year. All right, look, it's time to get down to business. Many of you guys know that when you don't watch these videos, my boss brutally assaults me. He beats me. And I understand you can't watch them all, but that doesn't mean he takes it easy on me. Today is December 31st. Each year at the turn of the year, I run a sale on mealprepmanual.com where annual memberships to the website are 50% off. That's $25 for the entire year. It's the best way that you can support me in this page if you like what I do. You get access to everything on the site, the entire back catalog of recipes, including meal prep recipes, snack recipes, dessert recipes. There's 365 guided mobility videos. And in 2024, I'm going to start putting some more training information on there as well. So if you like this channel and you like what I do and you want to help my boss stop beating me, this is the best way to support me. The sale runs from December 31st through January 2nd. I would love to have you as a member. I understand not all of you will be able to sign up, and watching these videos is another great way to support me, and it helps the website grow as well. And I'm super appreciative that you guys take the time out of your weeks and listen to what I have to say. It's not lost on me that I've had 750,000 people click that subscribe button because they care enough to listen to what my dumbass is saying. That's wild. And I appreciate all of you. I thank you guys for watching these videos. I hope you guys have the most success in 2024, and I will see you next week.